This year's WWDC announcements did not disappoint. It was feature-packed. We didn't get to see the new Mac Pro, the one piece of hardware everyone's waiting for, but there were a ton of other software and hardware announcements. And the majority of them were really good. We also got to experience this glorious moment. I could not stop laughing with this one, and I'm glad that Apple hasn't lost its humor. But the biggest surprise of all,
we're also bringing weather to iPad.
Yep, the iPad now has a weather app. It took more than a decade to get there, but better late than never. Let's start with the most exciting stuff first. Apple only announced the base model M2, so no M2 Pro, M2 Max, or M2 Ultra, but the improvements even on the baseline model look really nice. Apple claims that the M2 is 18% faster in CPU operation than the M1 and 35% faster in GPU. The bump in GPU performance in particular is very exciting because it means that the M2 Max and M2 Ultra SoCs will be really strong in GPU rendering, which makes things even more exciting for whatever SoC they have planned for the Mac Pro. But these are not the only M2 updates. Apple also improved the already capable Neural and Media Engine, which is nuts if you think about it. These were already fast enough. Why I'm excited about the Neural Engine? The Neural Engine is used heavily in photogrammetry, and in my tests, it absolutely destroyed my Intel iMac. And now, Apple claims that the M2 Neural Engine can parse 40% more operations than the M1. If that also translates to photogrammetry operations, then the speed improvements are going to be ridiculous. Of course, it remains to be seen, and I would love to do some further testing, but if the claims are true, that's incredible news for 3D content creators using Macs. The Media Engine improvements are also really impressive. The M2 can now do multiple 8K streams of H.264 and H.265 content. With the way things are evolving in Apple's SoCs, I don't see many video editors sticking with a PC. Apple's Media Engine is just incredibly good. There were no new iPad models announced, but with the improvements in iPadOS 16, the iPad will feel like a completely new device. We finally have proper support for external monitors. No more 4x3 mirroring. With the iPadOS 16, the M1 iPads will be able to utilize the whole area of a monitor. And most importantly, we're not stuck with mirroring. We now have a proper extended desktop. So we can have some apps running on the iPad screen and other apps running on an external monitor. It's something that everyone was asking for years now, and it's finally here. With this addition, the iPad is much better equipped to act as a computer replacement. Of course, this solution is not going to be for everyone, but I think a lot of users don't need anything more than an iPad. Another great addition to iPadOS 16 has to be the new reference mode. Again, it's a feature for a few select users, but it's still really cool to see. If you're dealing with color day in and day out, this feature is a huge deal. We can use the iPad as a standalone device when color proofing, but Sidecar is also supported. So if your monitor is not capable enough, you can color proof your work on the iPad. It's a great way to ensure that whatever content comes out of your computer, whether it's print or video, it's going to look as expected. Another feature that I'm just dying to use has to be Freeform, a new collaboration productivity app. It's a shameless copy of Miro, but I don't care at all. You basically have a huge whiteboard where you can brainstorm by yourself or with others. And since there's native Apple Pencil support, I feel that this is going to be the best whiteboard collaboration tool ever. I also like the fact that you're not restricted to images or text. You can even add presentations or videos. This whiteboard can act as a hub for everything around a specific project or idea, which is really cool. I'm sure the first couple of versions will be buggy, but I have the feeling that once the bugs are ironed out, it's going to be the go-to tool for a lot of people. There's just too many to mention here, but one of my favorite ones has to be the Metal 3 improvements. It's good to see Apple actively developing and improving the Metal API. That will not only benefit the gaming sector, which Apple made sure to feature in its presentation, but also has immense benefits for us 3D artists. It means more optimizations in GPU rendering and the ability to use the GPU for other hardware-accelerated tasks. Apple had a rocky start the first few years Metal was introduced, but it looks like things are now progressing a bit faster. In this year's WWDC, Apple showcased Metal's upscaling capabilities. So now developers can render smaller frames and then apply high-quality spatial upscaling and temporal anti-aliasing. The result is better performance without a big hit in the visual department. In addition to that, Metal 3 has now a fast resource loading API that allows the GPU to quickly access textures and high-quality geometry, minimizing wait times. And because all Apple hardware uses the same SoCs, all these advancements automatically apply to everything: the Mac, the iPad, and the iPhone. It looks like Apple is now actively trying to compete in the graphics department, so hopefully this faster development pace will continue. Fingers crossed. Apple certainly needs to catch up on that department, so the quicker the development will be, the faster we can get there. Thankfully, there weren't any big misses, with the exception of the Stage Manager. This is a new way to organize application windows and avoid all the window clutter. It works on both the Mac and the iPad, and everything stays consistent throughout all devices. It's a nice idea, but I find the execution lacking. First of all, it takes up a ton of space. We have this big application area on the left side, which uses up quite a big part of the screen. On the iPad, it also looks like once the mode is enabled, the dock will also appear, which further decreases the amount of available screen space. And then once we place two windows side by side, we cannot even have a clear view of both of them. One will overlap the other. It feels like a very clunky way of doing things. I haven't tested the feature, so I might be wrong, but I have the feeling that I will never use it. It feels so awkward. I hope that they will refine things as the beta testers will start using it, but it's just so wasteful in its current iteration. It's also not ideal from a productivity perspective. Notice how you have to cycle through all of an app's windows to find the one you need. If you have a lot of windows open, this could take a while. As you can see, I'm not a fan of this at all. It's just not my cup of tea. I barely scratched the surface here. I've only concentrated on the areas that designers and 3D artists will find the most interesting. But every single device saw huge improvements. The Apple Watch, for example, has some great OS updates, and the same goes for the iPhone. That's what I like to see. Apple finally hitting its stride. After a few bumpy years where it seemed that there was no clear direction, we're now back to laser-focused Apple. And that's where we get to see the best of this company. It's a shame we didn't get to see the new Mac Pro, but I'm guessing that's because they want to blow the socks off of everyone. They will probably put everything but the kitchen sink in that machine. At least I hope so. Anyway, let's see. Let me know in the comments below what was your favorite announced feature. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.